Hi guys, and welcome back to the semi-finals of the IEM Katowice tournament 2023 held in Poland. We have an all South Korean engagement here in the semi-finals, as we are spawning here in the low right in the blue. It is RAGNAROK and his opponent, of course, in the upper left in the red. It is MARU, considered to be the best Terran, but RAGNAROK also showing us some out of the ordinary strategies, and he actually made it here to the semi-finals, so really strong effort by him. Let's see how he does now versus one of the best, if not the best Terran here on Babylon. Let's have a look at their build orders really quick. Pretty normal here for MARU. A supply depot in the front, as we already have the Overlord moving out here for RAGNAROK. He goes gas first, but I believe he's also going to continue with his last expansion, or is he might even try to do a spawning pool here first. So interesting decision here by RAGNAROK. He might try to be early aggressive, or he will try to spawn those Zerglings really fast just to have defenses against some Reaper pushes early on, or against some proxy pushes by MARU. But MARU plays it pretty standardly here with his barracks in the front. There is this gas, and I believe the first Reaper will be spawned really soon, as the Overlord's already checking out here the map for any proxies. There we have the expansion. So it is indeed a extractor spawning pool expansion built here by the Zerg. Some gas is of course being mined for the speed for those Zerglings, and yeah, the first Reaper is also being produced here by MARU. It would be very interesting to see if MARU will be going for some infantry, for some Marines, Marauders with some medivacs, or if he's going to be going for mech, or if he's going to actually mix those two. Always an interesting idea for any Terran. Mech also does pretty well in the late game. We're about to find out what MARU is going to be playing. As for the Zerg, mass Zerglings in the front could be also a good strategy. Some Roaches, Ravager pushes might also be interesting around the 5-minute mark. Let's look if this is indeed the plan from the Zerg, or is he going into many expansion for a more macro-oriented game, into some Ultralisk later on, perhaps some Mutalisk, some Lurkers would be interesting. Yeah, we're about to find out as the Zerglings are already spreading out here through the map. I guess RAGNAROK really wants to have as much vision as possible, so in comes the first Reaper. One Queen is there though, so just a little bit of a mining time is being delayed, and one drone is luckily getting sniped here by this Reaper, as it will drop to 60 HP, and I almost thought this was a Zergling here. So the Reaper will of course heal up, and if MARU is lucky, he might even try to snipe another drone there. So we have a expansion here into the main from MARU. We also have a factory, so no starport after the factory. He goes straight into command center, as RAGNAROK is also expanding here into this location. Let's have a look at the next move. The Reaper is still out, the Queen is engaging, so MARU is trying his luck here. He might try to snipe another drone if he's lucky, but no, this time RAGNAROK being a little bit faster and almost sniping this one, a Reaper. So yeah, there's the expansion, pretty standard build order here by the Zerg. Let's have once again a look at MARU's base. He's going for 2 more barracks. No starport yet by him, or no starport actually. So going really heavily into that infantry building, into those Marines with stim, perhaps with some upgrades. Perhaps he's going to try a timing push really soon against RAGNAROK. There are some Hellions here of course to support against the Zerglings early on. So yeah, RAGNAROK still plays it defensively, still focusing here onto his late game activities, of course droning up really hard, adding some queens for defenses. Let's have a look when or if he's actually going for a tier 2 upgrade, but yeah, no such thing yet by him, so pretty standard stuff. He's of course expecting a dropship really soon to happen by MARU, but MARU actually decides to walk over, and this Overlord is really important here for RAGNAROK, giving great vision. So he will be prepared to engage those Hellions, and the Queens are really good against the Hellions early on. So there we go, one Hellion already taking quite some damage. MARU tries to find a better position, but there's no drones here, actually just a couple of drones. So great defense indeed by RAGNAROK, as one Hellion is even has to be brought back really soon to be repaired, or no, actually it's still here into this group. So nice defense. The Queens early on are really good, also spreading those creep eggs on the ground. And yes, still a Spore Crawler interestingly being added, so yeah, RAGNAROK really expects some dropship harassment really soon. And yeah, still droning up, and this time MARU finds a better position. He engages some units, but Ragnarok nicely saving those drones. So not that much economic damage is being dealt here. My MARU is just still roaming around, but at the same time he's also expanding. But however, this was here scouted by Ragnarok. Let's just check the main once again. The production buildings, double medivacs are being produced, 2 barracks, and yeah, the infantry here at home just to give cover in case Ragnarok decides to attack. But of course I believe MARU actually expects a move out by Ragnarok, and as soon as this happens, those 4 Hellions will be really deadly, for example here into the expansion point. But let's have a look. We have Banelings next and double evolution chambers, so they transition into Zerglings with Banelings here for Ragnarok, maybe later on with some roaches. He's also going for his tier 2, and he's also expanding here into this location. Now of course scanning the map, sees the creep X, tries to kill as many as possible, but this time he's actually getting surrounded by the Zerglings, so he has to retreat. Lots and lots of damage. However, at the same time, look at that, we have a great drop here by MARU, even taking me by surprise, even taking Ragnarok by surprise. So quite a nice move by him, distracting Ragnarok with those Hellions and inflicting great damage here with 2 medivacs, with those Marines into the medivacs. 16 SCVs have been killed. The Spore a little bit interesting being placed here. Perhaps this would have been a better position, but yeah, MARU taking us here by surprise and Ragnarok by surprise. 16 SCVs into the main have been killed. Ragnarok tries of course to engage, perhaps he's going to try to counter with some Zerglings, with some Banelings, but the problem for him is of course that MARU is very close by with his medivacs, with the Marines, and I believe Stim is also being done. Yes indeed, Stim has been done, so those Marines had a really nice job here, even damaging the spawning pool. And yeah, 16 kills, really great start for MARU, as Ragnarok has dropped to 58 now. So let's see how things will continue. MARU is actually pushing up now with some Hellions, with some tanks. I believe his next target is going to be the newly established base here. Let's have a look, or this base here into this location. Hellbats actually of course a much more tankier unit, just to give cover for those tanks, even for the infantry. Such a wise decision here by MARU with 125 HP. 1 queen has been snapped, the hatchery also taking some damage. Great position here for this tank, and notice how MARU is just surrounding this one tank just to give him a nice shield out of meat. And yeah, really nicely done. At the same time we do see some sniping going on here, some Banelings getting some connection, but only 3 SCVs have been killed. As the siege continues here into this location, we will very soon be seeing MARU splitting his troop. He has to be very careful against those Banelings nearby. So the Hellions have already been splitted, the Hellbats still alive, the bats going actually for those Marines, but nicely kiting back and forward here by MARU, saves some of his infantry. However, the tank and the Hellbats have been lost, and this means of course for his infantry that he has to retreat. He has to wait for those reinforcements, especially for those tanks and the Hellbats, and there are 2 more tanks, so we will find a good position. The third base here from Ragnarok might be in trouble, and we see a Boro now being researched, but the Banelings are in the front with a good position. The siege tanks are now finally sieging up. The hatchery is taking quite some damage, and Ragnarok tries a counter, but just with a couple of Zerglings, and now MARU pretty much in control. He's taking out that third base. His infantry is in the front, tanks would have joined here. So yeah, MARU nicely taking game number 1, and I believe everything went apart here for Ragnarok after that drop ship here into this location. So taking out 16 kills, really nicely done here by MARU. Let's just jump straight into game number 2. And I'm back with game number 2. This time let's spawning here on ancient cisterns, as we have spawning here in the upper right in the blue. It is Ragnarok, and his opponent here in the lower left in the red, it is MARU. Both players from South Korea. The semi-final it is here, and yeah, MARU has shown us a great tactical move in game number 1, distracting the attention from Ragnarok with those Hellions, and in the end that medivac, that dropship harassment was so strong, already killing 16 SCVs, really crippling here the economy from Ragnarok, and of course a great blow to his morale. So in the end, MARU just pushing those expansions, those newly established expansion, and in the end being able to take the game with those siege tanks, the Hellbats, and of course that infantry. Now let's see what the decisions are going to be here for Ragnarok. This time he's going straight into a fast expansion, so no spawning pool, no extractor for him. Straight spawning, fast expansion, as we also have the same build order here for MARU, gas, supply depot and barracks. Overlords are out, of course, scouting the map for some proxy, but I haven't seen MARU proxy actually for a long time. So I believe he's just playing really normally, really safe, no more cheesy gameplay here for him. And yeah, of course, the Zerg continues with his spawning pool and extractor here. So a different build order. This time Ragnarok, I believe, preparing another strategy, perhaps some roaches, some ravagers. Would be interesting to see, perhaps some lurkers, some hydros. Mutalisk even could be a nice possibility here for him, just to be more present on the map, just to be more faster against MARU. MARU taking his expansion here as well, as he's also going for an orbital command. So pretty standard stuff, sending out his SCV, I believe, for scouting purposes. No, actually he left it here at home, as we have a Reaper being produced. And yeah, the Reaper is just going to try to be as annoying as possible, of course, into the expansion point from Ragnarok. So Reaper is out. Let's just check the main once again. I believe he's going to continue, yes, of course, with a factory and really soon a much needed starport, of course. That starport really great to have as a Terran with those medivacs, just to support your infantry and even your mech, your tanks and so on. So in comes the Reaper, but as soon as the Queen is going to pop out, this harassment is going to stop. A good grenade here by MARU. Might be lucky and snipe one Zerg, no, but the macro is really great here for both players. Actually, one Zergling is getting sniped, and even one drone could be sniped here, so Ragnarok has to be, of course, careful with this annoying Reaper. Queens are out, so he should be fine, and at the same time he's also taking this expansion. Of course, MARU will scout it or not. Yes, indeed, he's going to scout it. And yeah, now let's have a look into his main once again. There is the starport. What exactly is he going? I believe he's going to switch into some Hellions really soon. He might try to inflict that much needed economic damage against those drones from Ragnarok. Just crippling that economy is really important, and yes, indeed, we have double Hellions here for him. Starport will finish very soon, so he might even try to place more Hellions. Even 2 more Hellions or 4 Hellions could be really deadly early on into a dropship. So yeah, this Reaper is still alive, still giving information what exactly Ragnarok is up to. Let's have a look at his main. No tier 2 upgrade. Speed is being done, and this overload is also nicely being placed here, as we have actually a Viking being produced first. So I guess MARU really wants to take care of this one overload really soon. The 2 Hellions are out. Let's just see if he's going to be able to kill anything here. The Queens are out, so yeah, not that many drones are actually mining here, only 1 drone, but the Queens, of course, the perfect unit to have against those Hellbats on the ground. Yeah, Viking is out. Overlord is very likely going to get killed really soon, and we also have a Banshee, interesting enough, for MARU. So Banshee is no medivac harassment here for him, just roaming around the map. Let's have a look if this is going to work out for him. Banshees, of course, also with that cloak device can be really deadly, just in case there is no spore for the Zerg, as he's also going into a Roach Warrant. So we might see a timing push by Ragnarok with the Roach Warrant, but we've seen how good Banshees actually are early on versus the Roaches. And yeah, even only one Banshee can hold a Roach early attack by the Zerg. There's the Roach Warren. Let's have a look how many Roaches is he producing. 5. And Cloak is also being done. And also another upgrade here. I believe speed. I'm not sure about this one. Perhaps speed for the Banshees. And we actually have a second Banshee being built for them. There is actually another... Oh, this is quite interesting. This even took me by surprise. Of course, I saw the Cloak and then I saw the other upgrade here. So we have 2 starports. One is nicely being hidden. So I guess this is exactly why MARU really wanted that Overlord being dead, just to not show his strategy here. He's going for a double starport into Banshee, and then he's actually transitioning to factory. So quite a interesting move here by him, rarely seen, while the Zerg is just onto a Roach strategy, Roach Zergling strategy here, and he's going to very likely be looking at an attack really soon. But we have those upgrades. It's actually hyperflight routes, so this looks like the speed for the Banshees, very likely the speed for the Banshees here as the Roaches arrive. And yeah, quite a surprise for them as they will be seeing 4 Banshees here in the air, and yeah, MARU should easily have this. This was quite a great counter here for him, so he perfectly read the strategy by the Zerg, and now the Roaches just have to retreat, just have to fall back, but so many will be taken care of. But Ragnarok might try a attack here, however MARU even seems to be ready for that, and he's just going to stay onto those 4 Banshees with speed, with cloak. Is there detection here? I don't see an Overseer yet. I do see 1 Spore, so that's good for Ragnarok. The queens try to heal themselves, but in the end 1 queen is getting sniped. And another Spore. Of course he has to build as many Spores as possible. Another queen is very likely going to get killed here. But remember, MARU is transitioning into those factories. Still the Banshees are present here. 4 kills. He might even try to snipe this 1 Spore. And yes, indeed, every kill matters a lot. So once again, no detection, just this 1 Spore for Ragnarok. There's 1 queen is almost getting taken out, so 7 drones have been killed. Gas is going down. Ragnarok losing so much, so such a hard game for him. 5 Banshees in the air. Queen also could be taken out really soon, and actually this 1 layer taking quite some damage, so Ragnarok might have to try to heal it here. Queen has been taken out, so really great stuff here by MARU. And look at that, only 5 Banshees inflicting so much damage. This could be an interesting strategy if you're a Terran player versus the Zerg. And now finally healing is happening, but so much damage has been already dealt here once again towards Ragnarok, and it looks like the Banshees, of course, more and more Banshees are joining here the fleet as the Spore will once again fall. So quite a strong force to have here for MARU. He's just staying into Banshees. This seems to be working out. Finally 1 Banshee is taken care of, taking out, but still 6 Banshees, actually 7 are being still alive here, and this next expansion could be the next target by those Banshees in the air. So finally we do see an Overseer, so by this time I believe MARU might try to transition into some other units. He's going for some more upgrades here. You can see the production tab just in case I'm missing something here in the upper part. No, actually he goes even into more and more Banshees, some Hellions, might go for some Hellbats. Cyclones could be an option, tanks could be an option. Yeah, let's see. Let's have a look at the worker count. MARU actually leading with 2 workers, and army-wise pretty much the same. But yeah, this just keeps forcing Ragnarok to stay back with his units, with his queens. And now in comes the mech army from MARU, just going straight for this 1 expansion. And yes, we have actually some Mutalisk in the air, so Mutalisk seems to be a counter. Nice counter here by Ragnarok versus those Banshees, just sniping 1 Banshee after the other. Really smart gameplay here for both players actually, and this will of course force now MARU to go for some definitely other units. We actually have some Cyclones being built and Vikings, so a straight transition into Vikings with Cyclones of course to counter the Mutalisk in the air. Let's see if those Mutalisk will be successful into sniping anything here from MARU. MARU is actually moving out. This expansion is pretty much exposed, so the Mutalisk could take out so many SCVs here. Yes, this actually even forces MARU to come back home, and only 1 Viking here could be taken care of. Some Helens could fall here as well, but Ragnarok decides to retreat, and he also finally made 7 SCVs kills. Really nicely done. Still the Banshees are here in the air. At the same time the Cyclones are of course a great counter towards those Mutalisk. So great transition in gameplay here by both players. Nice stuff here by both of them, but now those Cyclones really show how deadly they can be against the Mutalisk in the air. At the same time we have a great attack here by Ragnarok. Totally took me by surprise. I believe even MARU was taken by surprise as those Zerglings just went here so fast. He was very likely busy microing those Cyclones. Finally the Cyclones do arrive with 25 kills already here for Ragnarok. Such a great game, second game here by him, and all of a sudden MARU has dropped to 64 walkers, but now in comes the other units, the Roaches, the Ravagers, and yeah, Cyclones will have to hold their ground. There's sadly no tanks here for MARU, even the Mutalisk joining the attack. Everything is being thrown here towards MARU as MARU is bringing more and more of those reinforcements, more and more of those Cyclones. And I believe he's going to be able to hold, but his economy has of course suffered. However, he is able to take out quite a large number of the army from Ragnarok. So both players of course taking great damages. However, the Terran should be able to recover really faster with those mules. All of a sudden 75 workers once again here for MARU as he's pushing out still with an all mech, and benches are still alive. One mech once again taken out as he's just scanning the place, just trying to kill as many units as possible once again with those laser guided missiles out of the cyclones. Great range for those units, really inflicting so much damage here versus Ragnarok. But once again we have a attack here by Ragnarok, so really smart gameplay here by him, going straight for the economy, and some SCVs will fall once again. But yeah, MARU is nearby, he's also bringing his cyclones back, so this should be held. So in the end, a very balanced game number 2 in between them. 84 of a supply of an army versus 62. Nice APM by both players, really high, around the 500-600 mark here. So very intensive gameplay here by both players, as MARU once again decides to move out towards the newly established expansion point, and those roaches are a little bit exposed, so Ragnarok needs to be careful. The cyclones are pretty good against the roaches, and yeah, look at that range, really great range for those cyclones, as even the queen is getting sniped at the same time. MARU multitasking all over the place with his bench. He's taking out another hatchery, and now there's queens in the front. There's really a lot here for Ragnarok. But is it going to be enough, as the Hellions have went into Hellbats, and the Vikings will be able to take care of those overlords in the air? Hellbats still tanky on the ground, and the real damage dealers are of course those cyclones. At the same time, the main is actually getting sniped here for Ragnarok, so great takeout here by MARU, and what a great move by him, once again multitasking. And those benches really prove to be such a smart decision. He's going to abandon these units here, but the real damage dealers once again are those benches. The main has fallen, drones are falling left and right, the benches are on hold position, the reinforcements will immediately getting engaged here. And yeah, nice job here by MARU, showing us a very unusual strategy here for the Terran. Massive amounts of benches, but look at that damage towards the hatchery. It's just 5 benches here, and they're already in just 10 seconds, I believe, made that hatchery fall to half of the HP. So MARU is going to be able to take actually the game number 2. We are going straight into game number 3. And I'm back with game number 3 in between the two pros from South Korea. Quite a out of the ordinary strategy by MARU in game number 2 with those banshees. In the end, it was proving to be the victory move by him, as he sniped that hatchery and sniped so many units, so many buildings. So quite an interesting strategy. If you guys are Terrans and you want to try it out, you really want to make sure to check out game number 2 on this channel. Now we have them spawning here on dragon scales. In the upper left it is Ragnarok as the blue Zerg, and in the lower right as the blue Terran it is MARU, both of them from South Korea. And I still don't see any buildings. So hold on, there it is. So we have a supply depot into barracks, so quite a interesting map here. And MARU not making his buildings here into this location. He's actually deciding to already wall off here, so he might try to go straight for a fast expansion build, or there could be a possibility here for him. Let's have a look what he's going for. Another barracks actually, so quite a surprising move by him. Completely different strategy. Double barracks. This could be a push with some marines, this could be a push with some reapers, and with even some bunkers in the front, build by some SCVs in the meantime. Standard open up by the Zerg, straight fast expansion into extractor and spawning pool, as the overlords are of course once again scouting the map. But let's have a look what exactly the plans from reapers from MARU are going to be. I believe it's going to be mass reapers, perhaps with a bunker push. Gas is also out. Let's have a look at the workers. Pretty standard army. MARU already making one reaper here. Let's have a look if he's going for a second reaper or perhaps some marines. The overall is going to be scouting this really soon, so Ragnarok will have to play it very defensively early on. Now he sees it, so he's expecting of course an attack really soon. The rally point is straight headed here towards the expansion. Ragnarok really needs those queens as fast as possible. Yes, indeed, more and more reapers are getting sent out here by MARU. Let's have a look if this rush is going to be successful. He's not taking any SCVs with him, it's just going to be straight reapers. Might be lucky here to snipe this one expanding really great block here, but in the end Ragnarok much faster, so nice anticipation here for both players. In the end Ragnarok saving this one drone, but there is a second Reaper coming here forward and many more are being produced. Even a reactor is getting added, so MARU really straightforward here into game number 3, taking pretty much control of this game. However, one drone has escaped, but he is actually blocking the second expansion point here for the Zerg. I believe this was his plans, not to be really aggressive against the economy, I guess just to block that second expansion and just to have him at the advantage with a double base versus a double base. So 2 base Terran versus a 2 base Zerg. The Zerg sadly with a really having to deal with a very aggressive move out here by MARU, and yet this strategy as well can also be a very nice one for you if you're a Terran player. So you basically take control of the map with those Reapers, blocking this expansion, at the same time also blocking this expansion. In the end, the Zerg really has to bring those Zerglings forward, he has to bring the Queens forward. He has no speed yet done being, of course, for the Zerglings. But yeah, so much time has been lost here. It's just 1 minute late for the second expansion as MARU just retreated back home with his forces, and now just transitioning into those Marines into Steam. Let's check his main, another expansion. This could be a starport really soon as he's going for those Marines. And yeah, the wall off is nicely being completed, so sadly for Ragnarok he will of course not be able to punch here forward. And yeah, his second expansion is really so much delayed. A really rough start for him versus MARU. MARU showing us some nice build orders here into this series, greatly done by him. And let's have a look at his next plans. It should be of course a starport into Stimmed Marines really soon. Might be some Hellions also being added, as we also have a reactor here towards this one factory. So yeah, MARU still just roaming around. Both players are of course scouting the map, wanting to have as much vision as possible. The Queens are transitioning towards the next expansion. Let's check the main from Ragnarok. Still no tier 2. I don't see a Roach Warren, I don't see a Baning's Nest. So of course he's going to focus now into creating more and more of those drones. Finally see a Baning's Nest, so he might try to attack MARU's economy. And at the same time MARU just focusing into creating more and more of that infantry. And now we have actually a double Medivacs being produced, so really soon MARU is very likely going to move out and attack lab here for his factory, while the Reapers are just walking here forward. No defenses yet, only one Queen and some Zerglings here for Ragnarok. Should be able to hold another, and he's also sniping one Reaper. Same time, quite an exposed expansion here for MARU, but you could also say that's 2 base all in. Let's have a look what his push is going to be able to do here as he's adding a barrack. So we're going to see massive amounts of an infantry here for him, just constantly getting launched towards Ragnarok. Ragnarok's expansion of course very late. He's going for some Zerglings, he's going for some Banelings. He's of course expecting an attack to happen really soon. The Reapers are pretty much getting sacrificed here, and of course also distracting the Zerglings. But yeah, there's so many overlords here out on the map, and MARU just has to stop just to snipe those 2 overlords. He might even supply block Ragnarok, but no such thing yet. However, he's moving forward, but there's so many Queens here for Ragnarok, so he should be fine. However, Stim is being done, so he needs to be careful. But yeah, the defenses look really strong, and remember we also have Banelings on their way, so the Banelings will of course be the perfect counter towards those Zerglings. Let's see, a Roach Warrant is not yet being done here for the Zerg. We have double evolution chamber as MARU still roaming around the map, and at the same time of course he's forcing Ragnarok to stay back home with this move out with those 2 Medivacs, and now just walling off here, creating more and more barracks. Same time wanting of course to cancel this expansion point. But yeah, Ragnarok is here. He might try to move forward straight into the main. There's only one Queen waiting here, so MARU is really smart, but Ragnarok is so fast onto that creep, and the Medivacs might get surrounded really soon by so many Queens. But no, MARU just picks them up, and yeah, like I told you, he's actually forcing here Ragnarok to stay back home with his Queens, with his Zerglings, and soon to be Banelings, I believe, as the Banelings Nest has been finished. But yeah, so many, hold on, also so many barracks are actually being produced here by MARU. Look at his main, some tanks, more and more Medivacs, even more and more barracks. So he just might harass a little bit here and then just regroup straight into the middle of the map with so many forces. Actually, that's exactly what he's doing, just a small amount of Marines and leaving the rest of his units back at home just to defend in case there are some Zerglings moving forward here. Now we finally see the Banelings. MARU is smart, sniping some of the Banelings. Really nice job by him. RAGNAROK still playing, of course, very defensively, however having another expansion up, so MARU also has to hurry up a little bit to snap those expansions, because if this continues, of course, the Zerg will have the upper hand with so many hatcheries and so many drones. We see a good attempt here by RAGNAROK, but the Marines are nicely spreaded, and yeah, RAGNAROK is going to get pushed back here as the tank is also joining the army. Actually, it's 2 tanks here, 3 tanks here for MARU, as he's going to be going for the newly established expansion point. Let's have a look. The expansion already taking quite some damage. The Queen's also taking quite some damage. Notice how MARU only leaves a small group of Marines in the front and just spread those Marines as much as he can. And yeah, the really damage dealers with that splash damage in the back. However, I did miss 9 SCV skills here, so RAGNAROK with a nice counter, so sorry about this one. But the real damage, of course, is happening here, straight into the newly established expansion point. So many Queens in the front, healing each other, and now the Banes and the Zerglings are rolling forward. Great connections. The tanks are, however, still alive, and there's 2 tanks in the back, just giving so much cover fire, and now the hatchery is taking so much damage. Queens are also falling, so many Marines are still being left alive, and finally the hatchery producing some Hydralisk here, so we have a good transition here by RAGNAROK, still moving forward with those Zerglings, still taking out some of the reinforcements. So RAGNAROK with a great counter, but still he has lost that expansion. And worker wise, he did snap some workers here against MARU, as MARU has fallen to 60 workers, but in the end MARU with a huge army moving forward, and I believe RAGNAROK really wants to transition into those lurkers as fast as possible, but MARU just goes straight towards the new expansion point once again in the upper left part. And we actually do see some Hydras here. I believe another transition would be some Vipers. Vipers would be really much needed here against the tanks, and yeah, MARU really finding a great spot. He's on the high ground, the Hydras are on the lower ground with the Banelings. RAGNAROK needs to be careful, with so much damage going to happen here versus him, as the infantry is once again in the front, the tanks are in the back giving cover fire, and yes, Tim is really strong here versus the Zerg, as it's so hard for him to move here forward. But once again he's moving forward with Banelings. MARU, of course, is busy microing his units here, but so much damage against his economy has dropped to 47 workers. Steam is up, but so many Marines are in the red, so RAGNAROK could still fight into this game. Of course, so many Marines are dropping really low. One great connection with some Banelings would be really deadly against MARU. However, 3 tanks in the back make it really hard. Even 4 or 5 tanks now. I believe MARU is going to feel the confidence to move here forward against the other hatcheries, so MARU should be able to take this. However, RAGNAROK still having quite a strong force in the back. This could turn into a base trade scenario really soon, as RAGNAROK tries, of course, his best to defend, but there's so many tanks for MARU, and now MARU just decides to pull back, but he might get surrounded. If you look at the minimap, he could be surrounded here. RAGNAROK could have a good move forward, or is it he might try to go straight for this other expansion point at the same time? Zerglings are rolling forward, heading straight towards those reinforcements. MARU is here, so RAGNAROK tries his best, of course, to counter this strategy from MARU as much as he can, but the really important units are, of course, those tanks in the back. And let's see, RAGNAROK is splitting his troops, but MARU finds a great choke point here. Marines are in the front, the tanks are a little bit exposed by him, so in comes the infantry just to give cover fire, but now the tanks in the back. However, RAGNAROK decides to surround MARU here and inflicting quite some damage. Still, however, 2 tanks are being left alive in the back, and yeah, MARU just keeps on pushing forward, taking some casualties, of course, but he's still pushing forward, and the medevacs are still pretty much alive, healing those Marines. And what exactly does RAGNAROK have? Just a couple of Queens here, and finally some Banes are getting spawned. The drones have to be pulled, so pretty desperate move here by RAGNAROK, but it is, of course, a wise thing to do now, just to clear those units from MARU. But yeah, in the end he's going to suffer quite great losses, of course, And the MARU just keeps on pushing forward with his infantry. The drones are pretty much in the red. Some Zerglings will get sniped. I believe this could be the last stand here, and now the drones will be taken care of. But yeah, Ragnarok falling to 15 workers, and indeed MARU just had way too much in the end. So very interesting series, quite nice strategies especially by MARU, especially game number 2 with the Banshees, and now game number 3 a very aggressive move out with those Reapers. So in the end 3-0 for MARU as is moving on to the grand finals. This was the semifinals. I will be casting, of course, as much as I can. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Tommy signing out.